Hey, it's Dave Larson from the School of Acting and Voiceover again. One of the things you can do to improve your recording studio or to help you set up the best recording studio possibly with the least expense is to record the sound of silence. Record what's known as room tone or noise floor before you get too involved in setting up your studio. Listen when you've cranked it all the way up. Listen to what you hear. If you crank it up a lot, you can hear things that you can't hear with your ears normally. These are very sensitive mics, the large diaphragm condenser microphones that we use for voiceover. And it's kind of fascinating. And you may hear birds, and you realize, oh, shoot, I forgot to close the window in another room. You may hear the laundry. Oh, can't record when the laundry's on. You may hear people talking. Oh, close the door, ask people to be quiet, record at another time. So there's some obvious stuff. So whatever you hear, you then try to improve your studio, either closing doors, turning things off, or setting up baffling. One of the common things is to, if you've got a desktop computer or if you've got a laptop computer that has a fan excuse me, fan noise. And so there's a bunch of things you can do about that. One of the things you can do after setting it up to, putting something to help block the fan noise, if you still get a sound and you're not sure if it's the fan noise, you could completely cover that desktop computer with some heavy blankets, only briefly because you don't want to block the fans and overheat the computer, and then record with the computer kind of completely covered, and then compare that to the sound you had before. And if it's quieter when it's completely covered, you realize, oh, yep, that sound I was hearing was, the residual computer fan noise. I didn't get it blocked enough. At some point, your room tone, your noise floor, your background silence all mean the same thing. It's going to be quiet enough. But if you can listen to the sound and figure out a way to improve your setup, that's always a good thing. So I recorded the sound in my studio. I cranked everything up, and you can see that there's some spikes there. I'm going to zoom in on one little one right here. What you should do wherever you have peaks is delete them. It's not a big deal. What you do is you just grab a waveform. You see how this waveform here, here it's going down, here it's going up, here it's going down. So what I'm going to do is just click right in between the up and down. You see where that's right on the line there where the peak goes down to the valley? Anyway, this is before that big spike, so I'm going to drag from there, and I'm going to drag to another spot where it's going down, and you'll see when I just hit delete on the keyboard, I got an almost perfect, you can't really tell anything was missing. You don't have to be perfect when you're dealing with noise like this. Leaving some peaks not quite perfect is fine, but you do want to get this as loud as you can. And so one of the ways to do that is to delete a lot of the peaks and then amplify. So I'm going to delete some of these peaks here. Okay, so now you can see that I've gotten rid of some of the highest peaks. There's one that I missed, a little higher peak there. I'll just do my little trick to delete that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to amplify all of the sound I have. So I'm just going to select it. I'm going to go to Effect, Amplify, and it's going to calculate how much louder I can make it before it clips. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click this box to allow clipping, and I'm just going to increase a little bit. It's 2.18. I'm going to change it to 2.2. I have View Clipping turned on, so when I click OK, you'll see a red line appear. I have Show Clipping on and off. I just have that checkbox here under the bottom of the View menu. All right, and that shows me where there's a peak that I can get rid of. And at some point, you can stop worrying about this. You can see that I could see another peak there was pretty nearby. So, for example, this one right here, those two are pretty close. So I'm going to get rid of that one and then kind of call it a day. Just going to, select where the waveform crosses over, hit delete. You can see how it looks kind of normal again. I'll go ahead and select it and do Effect Amplify, but it won't have, that's very small, 0.075. I'll go ahead and click OK. Now you'll see there's a little peak there, but actually that isn't clipping. That's just where the waveform is touching. What the red line says is that the waveform has reached the peak level. Oops, hit the wrong key there. And did it again. So it's not actually clipping there. Well, it looks actually like maybe it's clipping a touch. Anyway, I don't really care. I'll go ahead and get rid of it anyway. But now I can listen to the sound. So here's what the sound of my room tone is, amplified quite a bit. hear some little blips in there, and that's where I wasn't careful when I was cutting out some of the peaks. It doesn't matter. I know that those clicks are just me having deleted something. So that sounds like air moving an event and kind of echoing, or possibly a motor running in the distance. So my silence is very quiet. My room tone, I should say my noise floor, is quite low, so I don't really have a problem studio, but I may want to figure out what that sound is and if there's something I can do about it. Maybe at the moment I have a door open to my studio and I have some of my baffles in resting positions, so I'd probably want to check again with the door closed and some of the baffles up. I have a semi-portable studio to see if that reduces that sound. It might. I do have a desktop computer. I have the fan noise only partly blocked. Probably, considering where it is and how I've been a little careless with it, that's probably my computer fan noise kind of echoing in the baffling box I have it in. So anyway, you want to just record the silence, make it as loud as you can, listen to it, figure out what you can do about it, record again, and at some point you're going to say, I've got a great studio, or you've got a problem that you can't quite figure out how to fix, and then get some help. That's all there is to it. Great way to get a good studio set up at a low cost.